days. You're listening to Cauliflower for the Year. Remember, our call-in number is 347-326-9741. 347-326-9741. I am Brian the Butcher Brown, also known as Mr. Perfect. And yes, I'm keeping that because we didn't pick last week because I wasn't joined by my two colleagues. So I'm still Mr. Perfect heading into this week's card. And I think they're both back, so let me introduce them. What's up, Michael Delicious?
What's up, Creepy? I know you've been waiting to do that for 2 weeks, but, Nick Frank and I have a little bit of reverence and honored Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. by not working on his birthday, unlike you bigot.
Well, listen, first off, I played this last week. Everybody knows I'm Mr. Perfect. They're going to listen to it again. And I think the proper way to commemorate Martin Luther King is to bring the show to the people and let them know exactly how you feel. I knew Nick Frank wasn't going to show up for it, but I thought you would have showed up because I didn't think you were going to share in his racism, okay?
Why wouldn't Franco show up?
Because if you listen to last week's tape, I believe his text message shot me is he wouldn't show up for that birthday.
Oh, man. You know what Franco told me? Franco told me that he was going to honor the doctor the good way all of the doctor's brethren do by not showing up to work like the rest of the doctor's minions.
Wow.
Well,
that's deflecting. That's some deflecting right there. And Dubs, did they overturn that decision yet? Didn't they overturn
they
that?
Absolutely did not. I guess you haven't been doing any research.
Yeah, they didn't.
It came out and it's standing.
They're gonna. I saw like a headline about it today, but I didn't actually read the article. But that decision stands.
Yeah,
it's going to stand. It's 100% standing, but they're going to implement replay in places that don't have commissioning bodies like Brazil. So just like I said 2 weeks ago, that Prater was going to go in there and absorb a shit ton of punishment and get the DQ win. That was exactly what I said on this show, people.
Does that get 60 points? Because that's effing amazing. That's an amazing pick.
Well, I guess that'll be up to Franco because he's the point keeper over there because I really don't know what's going on. Franco could be lying about the scores this whole time. So, hey, Franco, why don't you let everybody know what is going on with the scores?
More like the crypt keeper. Let's go.
Well, what's going on, really, for the broader view of what's actually going on, I'm pretty much a la Michael Jordan in the mid-'90s going for a three-peat here. And we got 7 events down, 3 to go. And third place, Mr. Brown, you got 133.
Not so bad.
In second place is Dolan with 134.
Wow.
And I'm in first place with 141.
It's close.
So right now it's 141, 134, 133. So all three of us are within 8 points of each other.
130 or 133?
What's that?
What'd you say, 130 or 133? Don't be jipping me out of points here. I'm writing this stuff down.
133, 134, 141.
Yeah, you have 133.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. So I'm a point behind Dolan then.
Yeah, you're a point behind Dolan. You're 7 behind. You're 8 behind me. But I got a pretty good feeling I know who you two jabrones are picking this week, so I should be up another 10.
Oh shit! Really now? Well, you know, I'm going to make you pick first, obviously, because what do we got? 3 events left.
Yeah, 3 events left. This one, we got 7 down, 3 more to go, and this is a good one. I don't know the event we got coming up this weekend. I think all 3 fights are close. So I think, like I said, I think I could probably pick who you guys both picked, but I don't know. I think mine might be a little bit different.
I know who you guys didn't pick. You guys didn't pick the Giants to win yesterday. Why don't we get to that one a little bit? Because I was with Franco with his blubbering lips last night, sitting on his couch while Teeny was laughing in his face when the Niners lost. Flat out.
Ouch.
Ouch
for the Niners.
I was telling a couple people today that I actually like the Giants. I like the way that they play football, but their fans, I wouldn't mind if there was just like a massive tsunami that just wiped out every Giant fan in the tri-state area. That would make me happy.
Did you get it pretty good at work today, Nick? They lace into you a little bit? You were worried about it?
A little bit. I mean, not really. I wasn't talking too much shit with anybody at work. A little bit. People know that I was rooting for the Niners, but I wasn't too bad at work today. But, I mean, you know, all the text messages, and I reactivated my phone today. I had to wait to get the iPhone shipped to me, so I activated the phone and I had like 17 text messages from a bunch of drunk Giants fans from Sunday night. So I almost threw that phone against the wall like I did with my previous phone. shattered it into pieces.
Franco's brother was calling me just knowing I was sitting next to him just so he could tool on him, just passing third-party style, just fucking killing Franco.
I wouldn't talk to him. He called. I wouldn't talk to anybody. He was like, I was like, no, I'm not talking to him.
He's such a baby. It was unbelievable.
I don't blame you, Franco. I didn't want to talk to anybody either. I was sitting there with a Giants fan watching it who was pouting, like you pointed out. Giants fans are annoying. He was pouting the whole game and saying, "It's good."
Yeah, exactly. That's what they are.
I'm fucking rooting, cheering, hollering every time the fucking D makes a stand. I'm telling him, "This is it. You're fucked." Trying to rub it all in, and then of course, as I was talking to Dolo before we went live. Kyle Williams should not have been back out in the second half returning kicks because I went over every fucking play from the first half that he fucked up with his fucking fumble.
Well, here's the thing about Kyle Williams, besides the fact that he's probably going to be unemployed after that game, is that he's fair catching balls where there's nobody 20 yards around him, and then he decides in overtime to take the ball on the run with 3 Giants around him. It was terrible. I almost. It's not that. I mean, listen, we lost the game. The Giants won, so it's not. Of course. It is what it is. I mean, the team that makes the least amount of mistakes in those games wins, and that the Giants didn't make the mistakes that we made. But I mean, if Ted Ginn Jr. plays, we win that game. We play for the Niners. If Ginn would have played in that game, we'd be the fucking Super Bowl champions.
Hey Nick, if I had a dick, she'd be my uncle.
Yeah, I know. It's
true.
As
I told Dolo before, the Giants are fucked. They don't have the personnel to keep up with those 2 tight ends. The
fucking Giants are going to win the Super Bowl. The Giants are going to win the Super Bowl. I can nearly guarantee it. It's just one of those years. The Patriots. I think the Giants are better right now, but we're going to be around for a couple of years. I just hope it doesn't take us that long to get back to that game.
Franco, I was telling Dubs, too, like, the funniest thing was, and that's what I talked about with people at work today, just anything to avoid work, was I was sitting on the couch with you last night, and, like, from the time it was tied on in the fourth quarter, it was just a roller coaster of emotions. Like, Giants would have the ball, I'd be up, I'd be like, this is it, and Franco would be quiet, just dead silent. I'd blink, it would be third down, we'd shit the bed, then Nick would be excited, and I'd be like at a fucking funeral. And it would just switch like that for 35 minutes. It got to the point where we weren't even talking shit. Like, it was just quiet. Like, I felt like I was in the game. Like, I was just,
exactly. The defenses were playing great. The offenses, neither team looked like they wanted to win. And it was just, I said to Dolan, the first team to make the mistakes going to lose. And rest assured, the Niners did, and they lost. I mean, that's how you lose those games.
In the third, dude. You said it before Williams screwed that first one up.
It was just one of those fucking games.
Yeah, it was. It was tough. It was tough to see a team lose that game, whoever. I mean, even though I talk shit, Niners were awesome. Like, it's tough to see them lose that game. That would have been a great Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's annoying for me to see them lose like that because, I mean, the reason that they were as good as they were this year was basically defense and special teams. They had the best defense in the league and the best special teams in the league as far as punting, kicking, covering, and they lost the game with their special teams. That's just not, that was so, like, it was just fucking infuriating because that's normally where they're strongest, and that's how they lost.
Absolutely, dude. If Ginn wasn't injured, it's probably a different outcome. I mean, the Giants didn't even get past the 50-yard line in the second half. So,
the 49ers, you take away the 2 big plays to Vernon Davis, the offense was fucking shit. Like, the offense.
I do agree, but I'm just saying our defense was playing.
Yeah, sure, but I mean, you could say
definitely playing better.
Yeah, the defense was playing better, but their offense was moving the ball a little bit better than we were. So it was, it was a close game, but they didn't fucking turn it over, and we did, and that's the difference.
I said to Dubs, dude, you take that one big I give you the second Vernon Davis play. That was a good drive. It was an awesome ball, and it was a good catch. You take that first big play away. You and I were sitting there, dude. At one point in the third, Smith had like 82 yards passing, with one of them being a 65-yard touchdown. You take that away, we win 17 or 20-10. There's just no two ways about it. But I want you to be rest assured, Dubs, we're going to protect your little P-boy, Joe Montana's record, because T. Brady ain't getting his fourth, son.
Well, listen, even if T. Brady does get it, I'm going to make the argument that Joe Montana never lost the Super Bowl, okay? So that's the one piece of argument that I'm going to hold on to. So I hope he gets his fourth, but remember, he's 4-1, okay?
Fitting to be 4-2.
What's that?
Fitting to be 4-2.
Shit.
Let's give Doug some good things to talk about, though. Why don't we talk about his boy Jimmy Miller? Because that was the best part of your weekend. It was Friday night. So why don't you break that down for me, Dubber? Because I know you've been dying to talk about this.
Well, of course. I mean, obviously, last week I definitely picked him because, as I was saying to you before, Melvin Gillard, he's young, he's exciting, he's brash. He loves to sit there and talk his shit about he's going to be the best 155er in the world. He's had over 50 fights in his career. But with all that experience, as we've seen once again, is this guy ever going to learn how to defend the rear naked choke? I mean, give me a fucking break. As many dudes as he's knocking out, and then they're trying to push him up there to the top of the 155-pound division. He did hit Miller, and it definitely did hurt him because Miller stepped back, and then what did he do? He went right for the takedown. Gillard fought it off the first time, and then the second time it went down, and he just moved his way to his back, and of course, just like clockwork, Jimmy Miller sunk in the hooks and then got the neck, and he tapped him out. I mean, every time this guy's on a hot streak, he just goes down to somebody who's a great grappler and can just, manipulate him on the ground. I don't know how this guy hasn't worked on his ground game after all this. I mean, obviously you guys watched the fight. Should Melvin Gillard even be in the discussion to be headlining even the free cards? I mean, it's fucking ridiculous. I'm sick of him.
Wow. I know what you're saying. It seems like a guy who doesn't really train a whole lot, and he sort of, rests his laurels on his punching power and his athletic ability, but I think he's got the ability to, I don't know. I'm not there while these guys are training, so I don't know if he's actually putting the work in. It doesn't look like he is. He looks like, a fish out of water when he's on the ground and grappling with a high-level grappler. He looks like a guy that really doesn't know how to defend himself. But, I mean, that being said, he had Jim Miller on Queer Street, and he was really close to finishing that fight. But he wasn't able to do so, and Jim Miller even said afterwards that he was basically fighting on instinct. He really didn't know where he was, and that was the first time in his career that he was ever really sort of wobbled like that and sort of foggy there for a couple minutes. But I don't know. I don't know about Gillard. I mean, nobody wants to fight him. Even Jim Miller said afterwards, because there's nobody in this division, and probably a lot of people at 170 don't want to fight this kid because he's that dangerous where he can knock you out at any time. He's really fast. He's strong. But, I like watching him fight because his fights normally end in the first round, whether he gets caught or he catches somebody. So I actually like to see him fight, but, he's going to have to work his way back up. That's two losses, albeit to two pretty good
rear naked
contenders. But I bet his next fight probably, on the undercard of a cable show or, on the prelims of a pay-per-view. He's got to get another win or two to get back up to contender status. But, those the Black Zillions now. I mean, that's their two of their top guys fighting in the last couple of weeks, and neither of them have looked that good. So I think Rashad's going to need a win this weekend to sort of, rejuvenate that camp.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
How about your boy Rumble? Franco? I mean, you fucking threw all in on that character.
Yeah, I fucking just
185 champ.
Yeah, I said that last week, and then I said that he was going to be the 185 champ last week, and then I was, last week 2 weeks ago at work, I was bored, so I wrote a fucking article. Just I was like, I was jerking around. I wrote an article and I put it on the X-Blog, and I posted it on these MMA forums, Sure Dog, where all these morons go and drive me crazy. So I'm always fucking around on that forum. So whenever I write a story on the X-Blog, I post it on that forum, just to so people can tell me what a fucking asshole I am, and I can wallow in my own self-pity. So I put it on there. I got a couple thousand hits on the story. Went to the website. The fucking next day, he weighs in at 197. Then I'm like, all right, if he fucking just comes out and wins, I could still have an argument, and I won't look like a complete asshole. And he comes out, he looks like dog shit, and all the assholes on Sure Dog will just give it to me for like a week and a half.
You should have posted that one on straightenthedukeyhatch.com, Franks, because that's where it belongs, dude.
Hey, it's like a professional wrestler. I don't give a shit as long as they care, whether I come out, whether they cheer or whether they boo, as long as they care.
Oh, that's hysterical, dude. Yeah, you're definitely a heel. I'll give you that much. But one thing I thought was interesting to get back a little bit to Friday night was even, outside of what actually happened in reality with Melvin Gillard, he still said he's number 2 in the division at 155. Believe that. I love seeing him fight too, dude. I definitely agree. He's exciting. He's brash. You don't know if you want to see him win or you want to see him get his head knocked off. You don't really care because he's always in exciting fights. But it's a shame because he really put Jimmy Miller in a spot that we hadn't seen him in before, and it just showed the mental fortitude and toughness of Miller. Not that we needed to know that, but it was a kind of a message sent, I think, to 155 that, Frankie and Maynard are the only two to beat him, and, Frankie choked him out, but nobody's really going to put this kid away. He's as tough as balls. It came out in the Ben Henderson fight that it turned out he had mono, and then that led to some kind of kidney infection. So, and he's not even the one trying to blame it on that. So I think he's just going to climb the ranks again. I don't know what's next for Gillard. I'll see it. I don't care. I mean, hopefully they give him a striker, but it's just a shame that, like you said, I don't know if he doesn't train. It looks like he doesn't train jiu-jitsu or grappling or wrestling or anything.
Wow.
It's just a shame because he puts dudes either out or close to out, and that's the problem. He puts them close to out, and then if he can't finish them right there, it can turn really, really quickly. If he just had a little bit of a base, he'd be able to stay out of those tough positions. And maybe also, if you're not good on the ground, maybe don't throw a fucking flying knee 3 times in the first round against a world-class wrestler. Maybe that's not the best thing. I don't know who's drawing up the game plans over at the fucking Black Zillion camp, but it ain't the Dr. Martin Luther. Jesus.
Yeah, come on. Let's be honest here. I mean, he's fitting to go from ashy to classy with that knee. He doesn't really give a shit about game plans.
They should let him fight with his sunglasses on. He looked better. Sidney Dean. This is Sidney Dean's house. Sidney.
Big Dick Hansen pointed out that, Gillard's now got 12 losses, and only 2 of those were not by chokes. So, the guy really needs to find a partner to wrestle around with. And like you said, Franco, those Black Zillions have really looked bad, and I guess nobody's showing up on time for work over there,
Oh, man. I just wish I could see some kind of a pattern so we could identify what we need to do to get better. I don't know. 12 losses and 10 of them by chokeout. I don't know. Fuck, I think we need to work our hands a little bit, boys.
But it's almost like he goes to the gym, he boxes, and he shows up just like wanting to knock somebody out in 2 minutes, and if that doesn't happen, he's in trouble.
Yeah, exactly. That's all it is, dude. He's just dancing around.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you should, I don't know what his deal is, but, Jim Miller now, he puts himself back in the mix at least, and, like you said, I hadn't heard that about Benson Henderson, that he was that he had mono and he had some shit going on during that fight because he really got dominated there, but, maybe is Clay Guida, who's Clay Guida fighting next? They haven't set up a three.
Yeah,
I don't think they have a fight yet.
He just lost to Henderson, so that they haven't fought either, right?
No. They haven't fought, and you also, Jim Miller's around. He could fight, Donald Cerrone or Nate Diaz. Maybe you look at Nate Diaz versus Jim Miller for like a title eliminator. That's a decent fight. That's a good fight to win,
dude. Shit, yeah, that's a good fight
for both guys. Either guy gets that win. It's got to put him in line for a title shot or at least close.
Yeah, we'll see.
That's definitely the fight to make. We'll see who is next up for that title. But I just like Dick Hansen pointed out that the Black Zillions is the new Hammer House. So. We all know how those guys fell off pretty hard, But,
I just watched. I watched the Smashing Machine again a couple weeks ago. Did you ever see that, Dubs?
I've never seen the whole thing, but yeah, I've seen parts of it.
It's good.
That's when things were going pretty good.
Yeah, I watched it. There was in and out, but it was right before it collapsed, and then I was like watching it, and then right after that, I watched when King Mo knocked out Mark Kerr in 2009 in about 40 seconds. So it was like. I watched the guy in his prime over in Pride fighting in the heavyweight Grand Prix, and then I saw him 60 pounds overweight getting his shit knocked out by King Mo.
King Mo's probably on the list, dude.
Jesus. That's another of your boys. How about that? King Mo's tested positive.
Yeah, he's been all over the news and shit saying, he was saying he didn't know what it was, and then it was just something to aid him to lose weight, and it was an over-the-counter. And there's this reporter that wrote a story about it. As soon as you go on the website to buy the product, it says anabolic, all over the product and everything. So for him to say that he didn't know what it was is just bullshit.
Oh, dude, it got even better today after all that bullshit where, he was just vehemently denying it. I don't know what it was. Yeah, I'd never done, performance-enhancing drugs.
This is the second time getting
CBS Sports Line, literally the headline, King Mo admits to doing PEDs. He's just yeah, my bad. Moo-moo. Yeah. I didn't know you meant PEDs meant roids. You guys got to explain that shit.
Here was his defense on the MMA Hour today with Ariel Helwani. look at a picture of me a year ago and then look at a picture of me now. So that was his defense.
That's a good,
very scientific. Taking a very scientific approach. And the point is, dickhead, the steroid that you took was for weight cutting. So what your argument is fucking null and void.
Oh, that's fucking awesome. I don't know. I started training with Overeem and Barnett. I tested positive. It's weird.
What did you guys think about Pat Barry looked a little bit better on the ground.
Yeah, that was pretty good, man. I was pretty pumped up. That's what I was just going to say. A guy who actually has had a problem on the ground, like Gillard, put some work in, obviously, and his submission defense looked awesome. And he got taken down. He still can't sprawl to save his life and stay off his back, but at least he can do something when he's there, because he went down right away, and I was like, all right, shit, he's out of the UFC. I just expected him to be put out. And then he weathered it a little bit, got up, got put down again, got put in a really tight arm bar. That thing was locked. He stepped over, he composed himself, and he didn't get over the first time, and actually he finally got his legs over and countered the move, and then he make it do what it do, you know? He basically clipped Morecraft and then put him out. So I was just excited to see it. Barry's a really likable guy. He always says it. He's going to put it all out there, win, lose, or draw. He's definitely not going to go to a decision if he can have his way about it. But I was really impressed, man. I really expected him just to say, fuck it, I'll just get choked out or whatever and be done. I was really, really impressed, and I hope he can build on the momentum, because he's a really fun guy to watch fight.
No, I was definitely impressed, too.
Somebody's got a crush.
Oh, what's up with that? Pat Barry is a...
Dude, are you kidding me? I'm sitting here half-mast. I got a picture. I got a Giants helmet on and Pat Barry. I'm sitting here. I'm ready to fucking spunk all over my stomach.
Oh, shit. Nah, it was impressive. It was good to see that he worked on that shit. You know, when he started stepping over, I was surprised, because as soon as he locked in on armbar, the same thing like you, Michael. I thought that fight was over. And you know, not a huge fan of Pat Barry, but at the same time, I don't dislike the guy, because even like in his losses, he takes them like a man. He shows up at the press conferences. He's trying to joke around, you know, as best as he can when you know he's pissed that, you know, especially in that Czech Congo fight, he could have just went to the hospital and said, you know, he needed medical attention. Instead, he went to the press conference, and, you know, he was joking around about it, and, you know, yeah, he's hard to dislike. Like I said, I'm not a big fan, but I was pretty impressed by his submission D, and then, of course, coming up with the big knockout in the first round.
Yeah, they just have to match him up right. He's a guy that, you know, put him up against, you know, the Czech Congo fight was fun. Mark Hunt, you know, strikers, if they bring over, you know, even if Overeem loses to Dos Santos, you know, and maybe loses another one, if you put him up against a pure striker, it's going to be a fun fight. I don't want to see him. I don't think he's good enough to deal with a high-level wrestler, so I don't want to see him in against a high-level wrestler, because his skills are, you know, kickboxing, he's explosive, and his fights are exciting when he's offensive, but when he gets taken down, it's just not an exciting fight. So I think if they match him up well, you know, he can hang around for a while and you know, just put him up against some other kickboxers. I don't want to see him, you know, get laid on for 3 rounds. But
yeah, no Kane, no Cormier, none of that shit. Just give me a guy who's going to go in there and bang.
No,
exactly.
Like the cancer just said, he's too short for heavyweight as well. So when he does get taken down, not only does he not really have the you know, the skills to keep himself on his feet, but he's fighting much bigger dudes most of the time that can really hold him there. So it's really a disadvantage. But you know, I mean, he was impressive Friday night. So
no, I totally agree with the fact that he's. I think there's something to be said. Hansen just said he should cut to light heavyweight. I always said that, and then you see pictures of the guy. He's got just his frame. I don't know if he could ever get down there as big as his legs are and stuff, but there's not too many really successful heavyweights that. Well, Barry's what, 5'10", 5'11".
Yeah,
I mean, he's a badass dude.
5'11". Yeah.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. Even like a Jeff Munson who's 5'8" or 5'9", and I don't know. You don't see a lot of success from those guys just because a smart fighter is going to sort of you know, take advantage of that. And I don't know. I'd like to see Pat Barry try to get to 205. That would be fun to see him there. But I don't know if he could make that cut.
What does he fight at normally? What does he come in at, like 245?
He was 247 the other night. Normally he's like 240. No, he was 247, I think.
Wow.
Or he's normally a little bit lighter. I remember noticing. See if I can find it. I remember noticing he was a little heavier than normal. But
he lifted.
He's normally like I think he's normally in like the low 240s, and I thought he was in like the mid to high 240s. Maybe I'm wrong. Dick Hansen probably knows. He knows all that shit.
I was complaining about that the other day after he had punished me from the back and he was walking out of the room. I told him he was getting fat. I told him, you know, dude, you really let yourself go, man. You better hit the gym. getting doughy, but there's only room for one fat fuck with full B cups in this relationship, and you're looking at him.
Oh, where's Dominic from Eatontown? I've been waiting for him to come in the room because he did something on Facebook the other day that literally I had to leave my office because I was laughing so hard. I had to walk out of my office. I had to leave the office. I literally was laughing out loud for 10 minutes. There was, this is like there's a lot of layers to this onion. So I get on, I'm on Asbury Park Press, app.com, reading like local news stories, and there's a story. Here's the headline for the story. Highlands man beaten, burned, and robbed over a bandana color, police say. So this is the story. Apparently, these two gangsters were hanging out. They robbed the Cumberland Farms or a liquor store or something together, and they got to drinking, and the one guy didn't like the color of the other guy's shirt, so he burned his arm. It's like he burned him and beat him up real bad, and they robbed him. It was like this big, terrible story. So I'm reading the story, and then I look below the story, and I see, they have like Facebook, people can comment on the story, and I see Dominic Casino, and the comment is, some gangster stepped on my sneaker, then he poured molten salt all over me, with an exclamation point, quoting Chappelle's show. And then, so then I proceeded to write underneath it, let's ride on these fools that they own barbecue. But the fact that he was reading the story on the Asbury Park Press and felt the need to quote Chappelle's show underneath it, I almost pissed myself. Like thinking about this 30-something at work, reading this terrible story and then writing about that Chappelle show skit right underneath it. It was hilarious.
Oh my God, that's hysterical. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder, huh? That's amazing.
It really fucking had me rolling. Just the fact that he posted it on the website. I was like with his name and everything on there, like cracking jokes about this guy that was burned alive.
Oh my God, that's unbelievable.
Amazing.
Yeah. Holy shit! At least Franco tables all his bigotry and ignorance on here on the show. Dominic sitting there with a picture of himself with 2 thumbs up on app.com, just quoting Chappelle's show while some dude's laying in the fucking burn ward, straight out of Backdraft.
I texted him. I said that was the funniest thing that I've ever heard. He said once I read that they robbed a liquor store together, he was like, it was just too perfect.
Oh my God!
I knew you'd like that one.
Fucking beautiful.
Dubs is laughing a little too hard. All of a sudden, Lucifer. Dubs is laughing. All of a sudden, he's like, there's fucking fire on the computer.
I wish I would have seen the story. I could have beat Dom to that comment. That's fucking amazing.
It was funny, and I think it was like either the first or second comment, and then I quoted it right below it, and then like the same dude, like some guy that neither of us knew, liked both of our comments, so he must have thought it was funny too.
Oh my God, that's the Chappelle show still unifying people all around the world. I just think of the poor bastard's family who like either got burned or did it. It's like reading the article trying to see what's going on with their loved one, and they look at the bottom and it's you guys just throwing threads up from Chappelle's show.
Al Bones in the chat room just said his signature bird call could be heard throughout the funeral.
Fucking beautiful, man.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was just so perfect, and I was like, I can't believe he fucking did that. That was
what
funny.
What were the odds that you stumble upon that article, too, dude? Like, that's seriously perfect storm right there.
Yes, and then I was like, what the fuck is he commenting on this shit for? And it was that comment, and I was just like, this is fucking great. This is perfect. It was just a perfect moment.
Might even call it a perfect flex.
Yeah.
Well,
I'll be perfect flexing you two fucking puss boys for UFC on Fox. You guys ready to make these picks?
Yeah, why don't you throw that perfect flex, sweetheart? And you know I like it with no Vaseline.
Oh, shit. That's pretty raunchy.
The villain does get crucked with no Vaseline.
Holy shit, I'm going to fucking bury you two pussies this week. This is going to be the sweetest week of all. Because Doug's is starting to get his swagger back. I can hear it. I can feel it. He thinks he's got a shot here, and he just doesn't. Neither of you do, but I like the fact that Doug's is starting to believe in himself.
Oh man, that's awesome. It'll make those sweet tears taste even better.
The UFC on Fox 2. All right, Franco. Obviously, the main event is Rashad Evans versus Phil Davis, and you're in the lead. So you go first. Who do you see winning this fight here?
This one, I think all three of them are really close. Oh, thank you.
Me too. You're welcome.
I think Rashad's like minus 250 last I saw, so like a 2-1 favorite. I think, Rashad Evans, in my opinion, I think he's one of the best light heavyweights ever. He's 16-1. The majority of his career has been in the UFC. All the big fights have been in the UFC. So this guy just gets, top fighter after top fighter, minus Tito Ortiz, who was sort of a replacement fight, short notice type of fight. But he had that one bad loss to Machida. But he's beaten Bisping, who's in the title eliminator, Chuck Liddell, former champion, Forrest Griffin, Thiago Silva, Rampage Jackson, Tito Ortiz. I mean, they just line him up in front of this guy, and he finds a way to win. He's good everywhere. He's a great wrestler, very solid striker. Got a bit of a suspect chin, I think. He's only really been knocked cold against Machida, but he has been able in the Thiago Silva fight, in the Rampage fight, in a couple fights to actually get stunned and recover and be able to finish the round and win the decision. But Phil Davis is a different beast. He's almost like John Jones light. He's 6'2". He's got a 79.5-inch reach. 27 years old. He's 10 State alumni wrestler. He trains with Brandon Vera, Dominic Cruz, Travis Brown, so he's in a good camp. The thing about him, though, he's only been fighting since 2008, so he just lacks the experience. I just think, Davis is bigger, stronger, and definitely a better wrestler, but Rashad, he's just good everywhere. He's got great conditioning. I think 2 years from now, Phil Davis probably is going to be a handful for anybody at 205. But I think right now that the difference in this fight is going to be the striking. And the difference in striking between Rashad and Phil is huge. The difference in wrestling, I would give the edge to Phil Davis, but it's a lot closer. So I just think that Rashad will be able to keep it on the feet for certain times in the fight and tag him and sort of fluster him. I think that actually Rashad is going to knock him out in the second round just because I don't think Phil Davis is ready for the type of pressure that Rashad's going to put on him, and he's just going to get flustered, and I got Rashad TKO in the second.
Wow, man. I got to agree with just about everything you said. I mean, I think I might change my round. That's the only thing, because I think Rashad's going to knock him out, too. Because on paper, if you look at their amateur careers, obviously, like you point out, Phil Davis looks like he has the pedigree in wrestling that, he should have the advantage there. But with his, he has less experience than Rashad in the MMA world, and I think that's where the difference makes up. Rashad definitely knows how to wrestle for MMA better than Phil Davis, so I think that kind of washes out, and I definitely agree with that. Rashad's got the better striking, standing up, and probably on his round, but I was going to pick Rashad's second round TKO as well, and because I think, like you also said, all these fights are pretty close, so I think we might come up with the same thing, so I think trying to gain any ground on you is going to come down to trying to pick these fights perfectly, so I think I'm going to take Rashad Evans' third round TKO. I know it's not that daring or anything because I'm not changing it completely, but I can't afford to lose too many points to you, Franco. So I definitely think Rashad's going to have a better striking here and take Phil Davis out in the third round TKO.
Is this a 3-round or a 5-round?
I was just going to ask that, and I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
I think it's the main event.
Yeah, I would think it's a 5. It's not a pay-per-view, though.
I know. I was thinking it would be 5 too, but I think the reason why it's 5 is because it's 2 hours, right? They're only showing 3 fights as far as the main card. The Dunham fight, Nick Lentz fight, is not on the main card, so I think they're kind of leaving that amount of time for it to go 5 rounds, and that actually factors in largely into my decision. Again, not on who I think's going to win, but how. I was kind of thinking Rashad would, Rashad's been weird in his career. He's shown a propensity to finish, but I don't know. Outside of the Tito fight, he was on a nice string of just going to the cards and winning pretty handily. So I just don't see it going 5 rounds, though. I don't see these guys being able, they both have great cardio, but I mean, that's kind of ridiculous. It's not Henderson versus Shogun. Something would happen before that. So I agree. I think Davis in 2 years is going to be right there, if not the champ. I think a lot of that might have to do with if John Jones goes to the heavyweight division, because that's a whole other monster to talk about that. But again, the wrestling kind of nullifies each other. But I think it's a matter of timing. It's just not the right time. And in my heart of hearts, I just really want Rashad to win, because I've been pining for this fight with John Jones for so long. I felt like the title shot has been Rashad's at least 2 times at this point. So I just really hope it does happen. I would hate to get this close and see it not work out. I don't expect it to. I think Rashad is just an elite-level fighter, and love him or hate him, I don't think he gets the respect he deserves. I think everybody's just pretty much shucking him off as far as having even a shot against John Jones. I don't want to look that far ahead, though, and I don't think Rashad will. I think Rashad 5 years ago would have. He was a cocky, brash guy who just absolutely thought he was going to walk through people. I just don't think he's there. I think he's in this place in his life that he's on a mission. I think it's obviously personal with John Jones, and he wants to get there, and I don't think he'll be stupid enough to put himself in a spot where it won't happen. I have Rashad via second-round knockout. I don't think he has a submission game to finish, Phil Davis, and that's the only reason I'm going second-round KO. I don't think we'll catch him that quick. So I got Rashad second-round knockout.
Yeah, I can't see him subbing him out either, but, like I said, it's definitely not going all five. It's got to be a 5-round fight, like you said, Michael, because of the time frame that the fights are on. But, Billy just pointed out the one on FX this past Friday was only scheduled for 3, but, I'm pretty sure it's a 5-rounder. But that's not.
Yeah, but they weren't doing that 155 for 5 rounds.
No, yeah.
They wouldn't have been able to tell that to you, yeah.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure it's 5. So, but I mean, we're all taking TK. You got him in the second. Nick's got him in the second. I'm taking him in the third. I'm just switching it up the round because I'm hoping to get a couple extra points that way.
Well, barring getting too far off topic, Dubs, and since you do have 3 fights, I do want to bring it up. I mean, what do we do with Dan Henderson at this point? Obviously he passed on Little Nog, and he thought he was pretty much in line to get John Jones, which is why he did it. But do you give him the winner of Bader versus Rampage, or what? I don't want to see him fight Tito.
Well, here's the thing, dude. If I'm pretty sure, unless Dana changed his tone, if Rashad doesn't come out of this fight with an injury, it's obviously Rashad's title fight. But if Rashad gets screwed up, like if he breaks his hand again, Hendo slides right in the fight, John Jones. So I think Hendo,
or if Phil Davis wins, Davis wins, then Hendo gets it.
Well,
yeah.
Well, yeah, of course. But I mean, I know we shouldn't just write him off completely because it's a fight and anything can happen. But I don't think realistically anybody out there really thinks that's a possibility. What we're worried about is an injury, because if an injury occurs, then Hendo steps in, and then you're going to see, I don't think Hendo's got a shot in hell against John Jones. I don't think you guys do either, do you?
I wouldn't go that far. I mean, I wouldn't say it'd be like the most unbelievable thing in the world. Do I think he'd win? No, but I mean, I learned a long time ago not to, to count Dan Henderson now.
Yeah, but he's gonna be so slow, slunking around that ring. I mean, John Jones is just going to put on a clinic against him. There's no fucking way.
Jones wants to fight. I think Hendo would have a puncher's chance there, but Jones wants to fight in April in Atlanta. Yeah, and then it's an Atlanta card. I think it's in April. So you could see even Rashad may win this fight and not really get injured, but just be banged up a little bit and he might miss another shot.
That's Jones.
They said Jones was saying after the last fight he wants to take some time off, this and that. They said he took like 2 weeks off, 3 weeks off, and he called Dana White. Was like, listen, I want to fight as soon as possible. He wants to fight. And he wants to fight in April in Atlanta. So even if Rashad just, sprains a pinky, he's going to miss the shot again.
Yeah, he's ducking him again.
Fucking bullshit.
Ducking him again.
Yeah, definitely.
What, we lose Dubs?
Joe was supposed to fight Nick Frank's boy, Mike Munoz, this fight, but Munoz got hurt. And Bisping definitely stepped up because, obviously, Bisping wants the title shot. So, Franco, who you got?
This one's fucking ridiculous as far as the odds go. Sonnen was last I saw minus 450, and Bisping was like plus 3 and change. I don't think there's anyone else that Sonnen's a 4-1 favorite in this fight.
Yeah.
Really?
No way. He looked great against Dan, and 4-1 in his last 5. He's sort of propensity to get choked out. Obviously, he's got 11 losses in his career, and he sort of has talked his way into this position where everybody, thinks that, he's the second best middleweight in the world, and he may very well be, or he may just match up well against Anderson Silva, but he sort of talked his way into making everybody think that he really is an elite fighter. He's a really good fighter, and I think, like I said, I think it's a matchup thing. He's 34 years old at this point, so he's getting up there. He's one of the best MMA wrestlers. In other words, like you said earlier about Rashad, he knows to apply his wrestling well in MMA. but, Michael Bisping's very underrated, 22-3. He's 32 at this point. He's been clamoring for a title fight for years. He really hasn't fought the cream of the crop like Chael has, but that's not necessarily his fault. I mean, he's fought the guys they put in front of him, and he's pretty much beat most of them. He dismantled Mayhem in his last fight. Mayhem's probably not even top 20 at this point. But, a 4-1 underdog to me is a little bit crazy. I think that both guys really want this Anderson Silva fight badly. The winner's going to get the fight in the soccer stadium in Brazil. And I think that Sonnen definitely wants to get the fight to the ground. I don't think it's going to prove as easy as it was maybe against Brian Stann. I think Bisping is great takedown defense. Even Rashad said it. I mean, he fought Rashad at 205, and Rashad said that he was really surprised at his wrestling. I do think that Sonnen's going to get him down eventually, but I honestly feel by that point in the fight, Bisping's going to be up on the scorecards. I see it maybe sometime in the second round, Sonnen might be able to get him down. I think he's going to be reckless because he's behind, and I have Bisping catch him in a submission in the third round. So I got Bisping, third round sub.
Wow, that's I don't know if I agree with that. I definitely I agree. Michael Bisping is a little underrated here, which is surprising. The guy's 23-3. He's definitely proven himself in the octagon, but Sonnen is such an elite level MMA wrestler that I definitely think. Maybe the first round, the feeling out process, he's going to have a hard time taking Bisping down, but he's going to keep waiting in there, even if he's got to eat shots, and eventually he's going to get a hold of him, he's going to take him down. I think he's going to work Bisping over. Obviously, like you pointed out, he's got problems with his sub-defense, which you would think that he went to the gym and worked on it, but who the hell knows? Obviously, Anderson caught him, late in the fifth round to pull out that win, but, his 2 KO losses were due to a corner stoppage and doctor stoppage. So the guy's not easy to knock out. It's not going to happen. He hasn't been actually knocked out before. So I think he could definitely absorb punishment from Bisping to try to get in there and get that shot. And when he does get him down, I think he's going to keep him down. I don't think Bisping's going to be able to get out of it. I don't know if this is going to be a terribly exciting fight, but I think Chael Sonnen is definitely going to be able to do what he needs to do to impose his will. And I think he's going to take the unanimous decision. I think Sonnen gets through Bisping to set up a middleweight title shot. I see Sonnen, like I said, being able to hold him down and do exactly what he wants to do and win by unanimous decision.
I have Sonnen winning this fight. I'm not blown away that Nick picked Bisping. I'm a little surprised that he picked him to sub Sonnen out. I think Sonnen's, he's crafty. I think Anderson Silva, his jiu-jitsu is very slept on because we see him do nothing but finish guys. It doesn't mean that Sonnen's not capable of, being tapped out by Bisping, but I don't think Bisping is gonna be able to physically match up with Sonnen. I think Sonnen he's obviously a big guy. So is Bisping. Bisping fought at 205 as well, but I just feel like Sonnen at this point is not even on a mission. I feel like he's fighting the best he's ever fought. I mean, he implemented the great game plan, and he really put Anderson Silva to the test. And he wasn't, I don't want to use the adjective, with ease, but he made it look almost easy, which was amazing against Anderson Silva. But I think Bisping's great. Maybe if he had a little more time, he'd be able to actually, beat Sonnen. I don't think that, Bisping is as bad as some people kind of give him flack for. I think people get caught up in their dislike for him as a person and then attribute that to a lack of skill, which certainly isn't the case. The guy was the first and biggest crossover star for the UK and basically put them on the map and helped to get that sport some recognition over there as far as the guys who were fighting over there. It's not like all of a sudden they were like, oh, what's this guy doing? This is MMA. There were a ton of guys fighting over there, but he really made the crossover and the cross-pollination a possibility. I think Bisping's been clamoring for the shot for a long time. That's why I kind of like to see him have more time to prepare. But I just don't see him beating Sonnen. I was blown away with Sonnen's performance against Stan. Granted, Stan does not have the ground game that Bisping has, but I was just blown away with Sonnen because it had been so long, all the stuff that happened with, the indictment and the real estate license and obviously the roids and just the ring rust and everyone looking for him to fail. And he comes out, beats the dudes that the UFC was propping up and everybody wanted to see fight, and the first thing he does is say, Anderson Silva, you absolutely suck. it was pretty insane to see a guy actually back it up. One, when he did it with Anderson Silva, but he didn't fully back it up because he didn't finish. But for him to come out and do that to Stan was pretty impressive. I have Sonnen beating Bisping here. I have him winning via a second-round sub. I think the first round is going to be a feeling-out process.
Oh, come on.
I think the first round is going to be a feeling-out process. I think that basically he's going to be able to get him down in the first, and he's going to have Bisping a little bit of trouble and lay on him. And then Bisping's going to be breathing. He's going to try to catch him. He's going to put himself in a bad spot and get taken down, and I think he's going to get his back taken, and he's going to get choked out.
Oh,
wow. I don't think I could go that far. I definitely think Sonnen wins the fight. I just think it's going to be him holding him down, beating him up, and going to the scorecards. You know, I don't think Bisping's ever been subbed out, right, Nick?
No. He lost in 3 fights. He got the shit knocked out by Dan Henderson. He lost a split decision to Rashad Evans at 205, which means all were actually at that fight. It was a terrible fight.
We were the only ones that were still in the arena, dude. Franco and I lost every fight that night gambling, and we were waiting on the decision.
We needed Rashad. We got him.
It was close. A lot of money on the line there.
The third fight was the Vanderlei Silva fight, which, honestly, the Vanderlei Silva fight, I thought he won. I thought he won that fight. Too. A lot of people thought he won that Rashad Evans fight. So he's got 3 losses against 3 pretty good fighters, and 2 of them are sort of disputed. And even Rich Hansen said in the chat room, let's not forget that he shits today against the upper end of competition. And that's true if you look at his fight record, but, I mean, he easily could have won 2 of those fights. I think it's a good matchup. I think he's much better on their feet. I think Sonnen will probably even admit to that. Sonnen is, he's capable on his feet. I think he caught Anderson by surprise with some of his boxing in their fight. But I just think that, if they play that game, that's what my point is. I think he's going to prove to not be as easy to take down as Sonnen thinks. Not saying that he won't get him down, but I think they're going to get through that first round, and it's going to be a Bisping round. And then they're going to get into that second round, and it's going to start out as a Bisping round. I think Sonnen's finally going to get him to the ground, and he's just going to get over-anxious, which we've seen him do before. And I think Bisping off his back is underrated, and I think his jiu-jitsu is underrated. I'm not saying that he's a better fighter necessarily. I just think that the way I see this fight playing out, I think it's going to play right into his hand.
Yeah, I just can't see it because I know Brian Stan, may have been just a tad overrated especially after his knockout of Chris Lieben.
Yeah.
But, Sonnen, like Michael pointed out, I mean, with that long layoff, he definitely looked like a guy on a mission. He looked like he had trained hard. He looked, it didn't even look like he had any time off the way he came out there. And I can't see.
No, I agree. I agree with everything that you're saying, but, as far as energy and intensity, I mean, fucking Bisping's going to be there, and he's going to be ready to fight. He's not He's not going to go out there and walk through Michael Bisping. He might win the fight, but, I don't know. It's going to be an intense fucking fight.
I don't expect him to walk through him either, Nick. Don't get him twisted that I think a second-round sub is walking through him. Bisping's been waiting for this forever. He feels like he's been perpetually disrespected, which I understand. I just think with this matchup, I think there's going to be a bit of an adrenaline dump for Bisping. I think he's going to come out fired up. He's going to completely play into the whole, America versus UK, and I hate this guy, and they've always talked shit, and they actually lined up now, so it'll be fun. Bisping is more than game, dude. I like him, but I think he's going to have an adrenaline dump. I think he's going to find himself in a spot in the end of the first, early second. He's going to get caught, dude.
Have you ever seen Michael Bisping tired in any fight ever?
He was tired in the Rashad fight. He was tired at the end of the Vanderlei fight. I mean, he got caught. And then what was that fight that he remember when he lost to Henderson and then he had that fight in the UK? And he just outworked that guy. There was no two ways about it, but they had to carry him out of that fucking ring, dude. And
I do remember that.
He fought the UK. He had an adrenaline dump.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, no.
I knew you guys were picking Sonnen. This is the pick. This is where I win. This is how I win the season. Remember the conversation.
This is where you're going to go? Well, yep. I don't think he's going to walk through him either, Nick. But once he's able to get him on the ground, it's just going to be, that's where the fight's going to stay. And that's why I think Sonnen wins it. I'm not disagreeing that Michael Bisping's a game fighter, but, I don't see him being able to get up. And then, like Michael said, if he's got an adrenaline dump, once the guy's on top of him and then working him over like that, it's going to be real tough to stand back up. And he was gassed. Yeah, Rich Hansen said he was gassed in the Mayhem fight. I forgot about that. He didn't look all that great either. It's just Mayhem was fucking ridiculously gassed in that fight.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, we'll see what happens. I just don't. I don't know. Like, and the fact of the matter, I really don't like Michael Bisping. I hate him on The Ultimate Fighter. He annoys me. But Chop's son and Zach's starting to get on my nerves a little bit too, because he just he contradicts himself so many times in so many different interviews. And like, I understand the game that he's playing, but like it's a little bit, he's getting a little bit gimmicky now. So it's like, I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing Bisping shut him up here.
Dude, did you see that interview he gave to a group of kids, Sonnen, in Oregon at this camp? It was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. He's standing in front of a group of kids, probably ranging from the age of like 8 to like 17. They all, kind of grapplers and trying to get into MMA, but learning how to do the sport. So he's standing there talking in a gymnasium, and he's talking about how just literally, no matter what in your life, whether you're a professional fighter or not, don't take shit from anybody. And he was just talking about how bullies operate and all this other stuff. And it's pretty funny because he's a bit of a bully. But what he broke down for the kids, he's like, listen, somebody slaps you, you punch them. Right there. He goes, you don't wait till tomorrow, or I'm going to get up next Friday. He's like, somebody slaps you, you punch him. He punches you, you kick him. He kicks you, you stab him. He stabs you, you shoot him. He shoots you, you go kill his family. Like, even the instructors are just fucking keeled over laughing. And he's like, I don't mean literally, but you get my point. It was fucking hysterical.
In the chat room, Bones is calling you out, Dolo. He said, Dolo's always had a Bisping boner. I remember from back in the day from the Ultimate Fighter, he used to be on Bisping's nuts.
Oh, dude, I was in love with Bisping season 3. I
forgot about that. We used to watch it over in the poor mama's house. He was like your boy.
Well, what? I'm sorry. Does it mean that if I like somebody, I can't pick them to lose?
What a turncoat.
Oh. Tell Al Bones to stop trying to get Nick's good graces after he was playing tummy sticks and throat jobbing him last night. He's just trying to get his brother's good side. I'll take on both you Franks, you fuckers.
Then he hit you with a JK.
All of a sudden he went, psych!
I totally forgot about that. We used to root for him against that death fuck, Matt Hamill.
Who?
Oh.
Yeah?
Poor Matt Hamill.
Don't worry, don't worry, he can't hear us.
Terrible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, easy, Frank. I couldn't hear you over you pouring the gasoline on that cross. We can't make fun of the death kids, huh? I'm sorry. Did somebody hear a match get struck? I think Franco's in the house.
All right, moving on to the last fight on the card. Pits Damian Maia versus Chris Weidman. Obviously, Maia was originally supposed to fight Bisping. Chris Weidman's undefeated at 7-0. He trains with Matt Serra. Franco, who you got here?
Hold on. I'm just making fun of Junior Dos Santos' wife in the chat room for a change.
Can I just say that Junior Dos Santos is just a really, really nice guy? He is one of the nicest dudes.
Look at his wife. He must be nice. He should be knighted.
Guy's fucking Martha Kraft, fucking philanthropist, marrying her.
So this, I think this, with the injuries and everything, I think this card wound up being better than the original card. This is another exciting fight. A lot of people on the Chris Weidman bandwagon. He's actually, I think, a 2-1 favorite in this fight. He's 7-0. He's finished 5 of his fights. He's fighting with Team Serra-Longo with those Guidos in Long Island. But I think he's got endless potential. He's only been fighting professionally for just under 2 years, I believe. He does have wins over Alessio Sakara and Tom Lawler, both sort of, middle of the line, middleweights. Big, strong, great wrestler, solid striker, but I think he's a little bit green at this point. And Damian Maia, this is going to be his 13th time fighting in the UFC. He's 34 years old. He's already had his title shot, but he sort of wants to stay in the mix in the division. He's looked better after that Anderson Silva loss. He's 3-1 since that. His striking looks better. Overall, his game looks better. I think that Weidman's got a bright future, but when this fight gets to the ground, which I think both guys, maybe Weidman tries striking with him. Like I said, I think Maia's striking has improved, but this fight eventually it's going to the ground. Once it gets there, I think that Weidman's going to be overwhelmed because I think he's so used to dominating position on the ground and being in control that I think a guy like Maia is going to overwhelm him, and I have Damian Maia catching him in the first round with submission.
Wow. I didn't know that Weidman was a favorite on the books here. I thought Maia would have been an easy favorite here. it was a tough fight for me to pick. I definitely think Weidman, he's a good young prospect coming up. He definitely likes to. He can throw hands as well. Myers look better on the feet. Like you said, though, Nick, it is going to hit the mat. And I am worried about Maya catching him in a sub, but I think Weidman's got enough of a great wrestling base where he can maybe avoid that. And I think maybe he can keep getting it back up to the feet and resetting. And I was going to say I'm going to take the long shot here and take Chris Weidman winning a unanimous decision, but apparently that's the favorite call. So I guess I'm not as bold as I thought I was.
Yeah, I'm disappointed to hear that as well. I was kind of thinking Weidman. The only thing that gets me, excited about it, I mean, he's obviously a great wrestler, and he's got some decent hands, but, I mean, he prefers to be, on the ground with some submissions, too. He's got 3 wins via sub. The good thing is he does train with Sarah. I don't know if he's had enough time there to deal with a guy who's as good as Maya on the ground. And Maya, I mean, Maya was 3-1 since losing Anderson Silva, like Nick said. His only loss was to Munoz. So there's certainly no shame in that. I'm honestly torn. I'm honestly making a decision right now on what to do. I was thinking Weidman, but I don't know. I am worried about him being a little bit green, and I think that, I'm going to have to subscribe to the same thought process as I did for Phil Davis, that I just don't think this is Weidman's time. He definitely hasn't had enough time to prepare. He took the fight on short notice once Bisping moved up. So I have Maya catching him in a second-round sub.
Yeah. I think that's probably the safe pick. That's why I'm shocked that Franco said that Weidman's the favorite. I just think Weidman's, his defensive wrestling is probably going to keep him out of bad spots, and he's a purple belt over there with Matt Serra. Not saying that that's anywhere close to the level of Maya's jiu-jitsu, but I think it's just going to be enough where it's going to be a dirty fight and going to stay standing most of the time. And even though Maya showed better hands, that I think Weidman will be able to just outpoint him enough. So, it's a tough one. That was a tough one for me, too. I really don't know how that fight's going to go. But with that said, boys, we've got about 1:40. What do you want to talk about?
Did you see Bas Rutten talking about Overeem saying he thinks that, Overeem's got a glass chin. He won't be able to stand and handle Dos Santos' combinations. And he's like, if you ever watch Alistair fight, if you watch him fight, he throws one punch at a time. The reason he doesn't throw combinations is because he always constantly has his other hand guarding his face, and he's got his one hand defensively, and he throws one big shot at a time because he's afraid to get hit in the face, and that's why that's why you don't see him throw combinations. And he said Dos Santos is going to knock him out in the first round.
I completely agree with. Go on, Mike.
No, you just never know what Bas Rutten's thinking. He's so shy,
Yeah.
He really needs to come out of his shell a little bit.
Yeah, no. I mean, like if you look at Overeem's fights and all the times he's been knocked out, it really didn't take much. It was, one clean shot, sometimes a grazing blow, and then, being finished off on the ground. It just, with all the mass he's put on, the power he's put on, and building up his level of striking, he's dangerous. But, yeah, Boz is definitely right. He's definitely throwing one punch here, one punch there, and trying to avoid that big shot. But, when he does get tagged, like I think it was it 2 years ago when he was in the Grand Prix, the K1 Grand Prix? I mean, you see the guy tag him and he just stops dead cold. So, I mean, it's definitely still an issue for him. But we got 30 seconds, boys. Anything else?
Nope, just saw the teaser this past week, the primetime show for Diaz and Condit. It looked effing insane. We'll preview the show next week. That fight's going to be fucking awesome, so something to look forward to.
Definitely is. Everybody remember to check out Roto Experts. Go to thexlog.com. Check out Nick Frank at NFrankRotoX at Twitter. Check me out, Cauliflower #4 Twitter. I don't use it much. Dolo, can they jerk off to your pictures on Facebook?
Perpetually. I like it on the face. I'll put some glasses on for you.
Delicious. That is delicious. All right, everybody, we're Cauliflower for the years. We're tapping out.
Stop. That's it, man. Game over, man. It's game over.